Most ambitious men want to build a business, but feel stuck in the 9-to-5 grind. You've got bills, you got a family to take care of, and at the end of the day, there's no time left to create, coach, or even scale the business. But today's guest, Ted Phaeton, proves that that's possible. He's a full-time meteorologist who wakes up at 3 a.m., a husband, a father, a podcaster, and he's built a coaching program on top of all of that. In today's episode, we're going to break down how Ted is able to manage one of the toughest schedules possible, how he built his first coaching offer, and the exact steps you can take to build a profitable coaching business even if you're working 9 to 5. So if you're wondering how to juggle both worlds and monetize your skills, stick around. We're diving into daily discipline, the systems that make it work, and how to turn your expertise into consistent income. So I want to start off by saying, you've proven it's possible to succeed at your career, your family, your life, coaching business all at once. So for the guys who are listening who dream of doing the same, where should they start?
Boundaries. First and foremost, you need to establish the perfect boundaries and the frameworks around what it is you're trying to do. If you have clarity on the goal, everything else becomes irrelevant, right? And that's the first place that I start. It's so much easier to defend your time when it's allocated to something else. So if someone's hitting me up like, yo, Ted, let's go to the gym, or rather let's go to the club, let's grab some drinks and whatnot, that's cool. And trust me, I love those things. However, now that I have a goal in mind, now that I have priorities that I'm focused on, my articulation is going to be, I appreciate the invite. I'm going to have to catch you next time. I'm working on something, right? Just wait until you see when it comes out. And honestly, that's an opportunity for me to share what I'm working on. For anybody who's building out that dream, that business, that career, or that goal that they're chasing after, we're told to keep it to ourselves. I believe in that. If they don't know your dreams, they can't shoot them down. J. Cole. But if you have somebody that invites you to something and you have an opportunity to share what you're working on, that could be a potential client, that could be a potential supporter to your business or a launch that you have coming up. You let them know the reason that you can't go is because you're working on something that's really important to you, but you'd love for them to be there to support you when that mission, goal, that launch is open and live. And then you could follow up with them next time. So I would start with boundaries, setting the proper frameworks and the proper tracks to get to where you're trying to get to.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Making sure that, first things first, have your priorities set in order. However, sometimes I think people don't know what to prioritize. They might have they have like 5 things on their to-do list and they swear all 5 of them are just equally as important and they don't know what to tackle first. And I know we spoke about how you are really efficient in teaching people about how to allocate their time. So if someone came to you and was like, Ted, I don't even know how to prioritize. I know what I need to do. I just don't know what order I should do them in. What would you say to them?
Well, I'll break it down in terms of my framework. And the first thing I do is I start with the North Star. Right? If they got all these 5 things, it's like, okay, before we even look at that list, before we even look at what you're doing, where are you trying to get? Where are you trying to go? I want to know the end game. And I start with this fact. The Apollo rockets from Earth to the moon spend 97% of their time off course. 97%. But they land with precision timing because they check and adjust along the way. So only 3% of the time are they actually on the track that they're supposed to be at. So what you're doing isn't as important as knowing where you're going. So that's the first thing I do. And I'll talk about SMART goals, visualization, actually put into place like what is the driving force that gets you there, because it's enough to know what you want, but you need to know why you want it. Because what you want is the destination. Why you want it is the wind in your sails. When the storms come, when time gets hard and all the adversity and the inertia hits between you and your goals, you're going to need something to get you through. So number 1 is that North Star. Let's find out where you're going and why you want to get there. Once that's accomplished, then we go back to that list. Now we're gonna look at, you said those 5 things, they're all a priority. Well, now that we have clarity of destination, something's going to tell me one of those 5 things are going to jump out blatantly. It's like, oh, wait. That's not helping me get to where I want to go. That's just something that feels good in the moment, right? Or that's just something which I'm a victim of. That's just something I've always done and I didn't know how to let it go because it got me here, but it's not going to get me there. Yeah. But it's programmed in our behavior. It's programmed in our activities. So it's just part of the routine. It's part of the regime. It's part of the regiment. But when we have that clarity of destination and we revisit that list, that gives us a little bit of a better idea into what is needed and what is not. The first aspect of my framework, after you get your North Star, I call it my AAA framework: assess, adjust, apply. The first thing we're going to do is assess. What are your days like? Where are you spending your time right now? We're going to have a little piece of paper. I have a worksheet that I offer in my coaching, and even a free PDF that I give, where you just, every half hour, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing. Do that for 2-3 days. Then you get data. Then you get clarity into where you're spending your time. How much time are you spending on social media? How much time are you spending at the gym? If you're going to the gym, right? You might notice you're spending an hour and a half at lunch. It don't take you an hour and a half to eat. Come on now, you could do that in 30 minutes. There's your hour right there to work out. So that time audit is the first assessment. Then I want to do an energy assessment. Where in the day is your energy peaking? Where in the day is your energy crashing, right? We all heard of circadian rhythms, when we wake up and when we go to sleep. But there's another rhythm that happens throughout the day called ultradian rhythms, which is anywhere from 90 to 120 minutes. And that's the peaks and valleys throughout the day. So what I like to set up for my clients is, okay, your ultradian rhythm shows that you peak in the morning. 9 a.m., you're high energy all the way up until about 12. Around 12:30, 1 o'clock, you crash. And then that energy ramps up again around 3:30, 4 o'clock. So what we're going to do is, in the morning, this is for my creatives out there listening, that's where we're going to brainstorm. That's where we're going to create. That's where we're going to be either writing out our scripts, we're going to be recording our videos, things like that. In that 12:30 to 3 o'clock where your energy's crashing, well, that's when you're going to answer emails. That's where we're going to do more of that mundane work, the scheduling and all those things that aren't necessarily thinking intensive. They're not mind intensive, but it's just routine, going through the flow, going through the motions. Well, your low energy is a perfect window to do that in. And then when your high energy peaks again later on in the day, that's where your inspiration comes back and you're more likely to do more creative things. So I do that assess portion because understanding self is where we understand where to do things. And that's where the adjust comes into play. Because chances are, now that we got your North Star, now that we assessed what you're doing, it doesn't match where you're trying to go, because if it did, you'd be on track and you wouldn't need me in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So now we've learned on some things that we got to move around. And that goes into the adjust part where we put that into a perfect week. And then if you don't test, you don't know if it works or not. So the apply aspect is where I break down some strategies and techniques to increase productivity, whether it's aromatherapy, Pomodoro technique, deep work, these things to help get more out of the hours that you spend. And that's the apply version. And then at that point, we just run it back. Assess, adjust, apply. Assess, adjust, apply. That's really the overarching framework that I take my clients through. I take everybody I work with through to help them really get control of their goals and get them from point A to point B.
Wow. That's the thing that you said that resonated with me the most is in terms of like the energy. Where are you spending, like, what are you doing when, based off of your energy? So that way you have the more leverage in the day. I think a lot of us, or at least for me, like I have a to-do list and I have an order of importance, but I don't necessarily do it based off of energy. I might have to start switching that up, because I have tried to, it's real hard once that energy is low to try to like be like, oh, let me set up the camera and then and I think it also comes out in my voice too. So I try to avoid, like, if I have to push recording to a different day or a different time, I try and do that because I don't want to jeopardize the quality of the recording based off of my energy.
Well, that part right there, the quality of your output is highly determined on the quality of your input. Mm-hmm. So a lot of folks, they're trying to do, and especially content creators, man, you're trying to get a lot out of what you're putting out. Yeah. Now imagine if you're approaching this creative work with low energy. Whether it's writing a blog post, recording an Instagram reel, recording a YouTube video, if you're low energy, how do you expect the output to yield high results, right? The audience is going to match the energy that you come with. Even behind the window. What did I do when we pulled up the call, man? I started jumping.
You started jumping, talking about, hey, I got to bring the energy, man. I appreciate that.
Get the blood flowing, because if I'm coming here and listen, man, if I'm doing the interview like this, and I'm just like, yeah, I do my AAA framework, and I get people through it. Such like people are going to sleep. They're not in for it. They don't feel that. They don't hear the passion. right? They don't hear the research or what it's done in my life. So it doesn't resonate. It doesn't jump out the screen and touch them. It doesn't jump out of their earbuds and make them feel something. And if they don't feel something, they don't take action. And that's what's lacking in a lot of our content is it's like, okay, I'm just going through the motions. Ugh, I got to record this video. We're treating it like a checklist, not
Yeah.
like, oh man, I'm born to do this. And the purpose behind that, something else I do when I build out the perfect week with my clients, I like to highlight activities because I also ask my clients, it's like, okay, mark down what you do in a given week or what you with the list of priorities, right? And let's say it's like, okay, record content, build a script, emails, respond to emails, payroll, whatever it is. Now next to it, put an up arrow, a neutral, or a down, right? Does this fill you up or does it drain you? Or is it somewhere in between? And then when we put out the perfect week and I start laying it out for clients, we visually could see, I'm like, bro, all day on Tuesday is red. Like all day you're doing tasks that drain you. So even when you're high energy, you're doing things that you don't want to do, accounting or something like that. And I'm like, especially if someone's their own boss and they make their own schedule, it's like, okay, hey man, you like researching. You really love messing with Chat GPT with ideas and scripting. Like this fills you up. Would it be out of the question to slide in a little bit of that green in this red day so it's not all draining you? And that's where the approach of that mindset comes. It's like, okay, when you're strategic with this, why do some people go days and weeks on end and they don't burn out? It's because they're navigating with their ultradian rhythm. They know what fills them up. They know what drains them. And here's the thing, when you see those things highlighted in red, that's an opportunity. Number one, you know you don't like doing it. That's what that tells you. It's in red, it drains you, you don't like doing it. So do you have to do it? If it's something that you absolutely have to do, okay, bet. We're going to put some green around that. We're going to make sure we gas you up before we drain you and all that. But let's also look at it in a form of, can you delegate this thing? Can somebody else do it? Right? And there's so priority. One thing you asked about was priorities, and there's a concept called the Eisenhower matrix. You ever heard of this?
No.
So the Eisenhower matrix, it was implemented by President Dwight D. Eisenhower, and it's a 4-quadrant box. And in simply looking at a task, and you decide, do I do, defer, delegate, delete, right? So it's either I do it. If this is something that's important, it needs to be done. Only I can do it, so I'm going to do it, and I do it now. Defer is this is something that I need to do. It's something that's important, but it doesn't have to be done now, so I'll defer it to later. The second row goes into delegate. Okay, it's something that needs to be done, but I don't necessarily have to do it, so let me delegate it to somebody else. And the last one is delete. Bad habits, things that's no longer serving us, things that I used to do that make no more sense, like delete that. Now, the thing about defer and what I talk to my clients about when there's a red thing on their calendar, they're like, oh, let me defer it. Great. That can quickly turn to procrastination, right?
Yeah.
Because it needs to be done. You don't want to do it. You don't want to delegate it, so you defer it. Well, how long are you going to defer it before it becomes a problem? You know? And oftentimes, for anybody that ends up like, oh man, this problem just came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. No, it didn't. We just ignored it until the deadline came, right?
Yeah.
It's like in college, man, I'd wait till I'd have 3 weeks to do like a 10-page paper. And it's like 2 days before I'm like, oh crap, let me do this paper really quick. And like, oh man, I didn't have enough time to do the paper. Yeah, you did. We just ignored it until it became too much of a problem to ignore. So that's one piece of energy that I look at, not just how my energy is throughout the day, but what tasks fill me up, what tasks drain me, and how can I create my days in a way that I don't line up a whole bunch of draining tasks that leave me empty by 5 o'clock.
So I can see it right now. People are listening to this, they resonate with this, but we have people who are creators, entrepreneurs, people who have busy schedules. So I want to ask you, as someone who's a meteorologist who has to be at work at like 3 a.m. and then you get off at 10 a.m., like how do you juggle the demand of everything that you do, basically?
Life? Oh man. I'll be honest, It's rough.
Well, actually, I think I already asked you the question. I'm more so mean like, how do you balance the energy? I guess your energy more so, not necessarily like the time, but how do you make sure that you have enough energy throughout the day to, record your content, script your content, serve your clients, stuff like that?
Yeah. So not just boundaries, but I have again the perfect week that I've laid out, and these I'm about to show for anybody who's watching the video. These are tracks, not bars. And what I mean by that is a lot of people see my calendar and they freak out. So you see all
Oh,
the color
wow.
coordination there.
Yeah.
It's color coordinated. I got all the box. You see a lot of pink. That's family time. That's time with my wife and time with my daughter. Um, and I've identified the pink fills me up. Time with my wife and time with my family fills me up. My home is my peace. I'm thankful and I'm blessed to say that. For anybody that does not have that, that is my value. That is what I cherish. I believe everybody should have peace in their home. So find your peace is number one. That peace is what puts the deposits in your ATM. If you're like me, Myles, the moment you wake up, and all my entrepreneurs and all the creators out there, the moment this thing rings, the moment this phone rings, somebody on the other side needs something from me,
Yeah.
right? The moment I wake up, whether it's a DM, a phone call, a text message, somebody needs something, whether it's a DM of,
Email.
set emails, someone's trying to sell me on something, or somebody's trying to fulfill an order or something. I'm getting drained constantly. So number one is find my peace, and I sprinkle that throughout my week. Number two is preparation, bro. I think Abraham Lincoln had the quote where he said, if you gave me 6 hours to cut down a tree, I'd spend the first 4 hours sharpening the axe. A lot of us are approaching our days with dull tools, so we're not getting the best results. When somebody asks about my morning routine, I tell them that my morning routine starts the night before. I don't have to think about what I'm doing in the day because when I wake up, I already know what my day looks like. The night before, I'm putting my clothes out. I got my suit picked. I got my shoes out, my watch, everything good to go. I wake up, my alarm goes off 2:35. I'm out of bed. I brush my teeth. I do some push-ups, get my blood flowing. That's what gives me the energy in the morning. And then put my clothes on. I'm out the door in 10 minutes or less. I'm in the car. I get my Bible verse in. I do a quick Blinkist book to learn something, get my mind activated in the morning. I still have not touched I've touched my cell phone, but I haven't looked at social media. I haven't looked at an email. I haven't looked at a text message, nothing. That's the one little hack. First hour in the day, I'm not taking any input from outside. I get to work at 3 a.m. Listen, I've gotten to work at 3 a.m. I'm the meteorologist. I'm the weather guy. I'm stepping foot in the door and the producer's coming up to me like, bro, what's happening with this big storm? I said, I have no idea. I haven't even looked at anything yet, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know. Give me a couple minutes. So I get into work, and that's when I start forecasting and I do all my work. Work, I'll say candidly, it's a draining activity. I enjoy what I do. I have a lot of fun, but it requires a lot of energy. So it's a draining activity. I get out 11:30 or so. By noon, that's my opportunity to reset. I get home, I'll change, I'll do a little breath work. Sometimes I'll meditate, and then I'll drink some water, and then I'll go to the gym by 12:30, 1 o'clock. 12:30 to 2 is my gym, my workout. I'll see my daughter, see my wife really quick, give her a kiss. 2 p.m., boom, I'm back at it. 2 p.m. to 5 p.m., I'm podcasting or doing calls. I'm doing this. I'm in the business. 5 p.m. comes, I shut it down, get my stuff ready for the next day. Then I spend time with family. If you notice, work drains me. That middle section with the workout and family, that's like my reset. That fills me up. And then the second half, truth be told, I love what I do. I love my business. Podcasting fills me up. Coaching fills me up. Pouring into people, that fills my cup. I'm not a big fan of the correspondence, doing the emails and more of the mundane tasks and follow-ups. That gets a little draining at times. So I usually save that towards that 4 or 5 o'clock hour. So like if somebody's emailing me and they're trying to hear back, it's not gonna be till like end of business day, bro. Like that's one of the last things I do. And then I finish my night, usually on Tuesdays it's taco night. So I make some tacos and then we go to run club together. My wife and I will go to run club on Tuesdays and we'll do something like, watch a Netflix show on the couch or something. And I'm going to bed by like 8 o'clock. That's how my days look. And that's what fills me up. On the weekends, I get even more of that family time to replenish me for the week, bro.
Hmm. So you have your systems completely dialed in terms of your time management, all that stuff. So at what point did you realize, okay, I could really turn this into a business and start coaching other men on how to do this? If this breakdown is clicking for you, please make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next strategy. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the show.
Man, it came about a couple of years ago. It was actually right before my daughter was born because podcasting was really the inception of everything I do. At the time, I was a morning anchor. I was just learning how to anchor, and it was really beating up my confidence. So I needed to do something else that gave me confidence, and I had the gift of gab. I love the business. I love, again, just this digital medium of conversation. Like, Myles, somebody is going to hear this. It's going to impact their lives, and it's gonna inspire them to do something that can change their lives for the better. And even better, my daughter can watch this 10, 20 years from now. And, God forbid, I'm gonna knock on my IKEA wood over here on my desk. If something were to happen to me and my daughter's like, I never got to know my dad, she could listen to my 400 or 500 podcast episodes that I've done. Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I fell in love with the digital space. I started podcasting, and from that came more and more conversations with business owners. And from that came a passion and a love from it. And from that came my wife one day saying, you spend a lot of time on this podcast. What you gonna do? So I was like, oh, bet. Let me hire a team. Boom. Hired a team. Now I got a team editing it. I still get to talk and everything, and I'm having fun. Another year or so goes by. The wife's like, we spent a lot of money on this podcast. We gonna get any of that back? So then it's like, oh, snap. Let me build a system around this. And they say, if you want to find your purpose, identify your pain. And for me, I always had a lot of things going on. And as I became more busy in the span of my podcasting, I've been podcasting for like 7 years. So I got married. We started talking about a family. I moved to a new city. So time just became more and more constrained, and I had to implement more and more systems to navigate it. I've always valued fitness, so I was like, I'd be damned if I missed the gym, right?
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm doing all this, right? So then one day I looked back and I started thinking to myself, I was like, all right, Ted, what is your skill? Like, what is it you can teach others? Because they always say, if you're looking for business, if you're trying to make money, find out what you're good at and teach others. So I'm like, let me be intuitive and see, what do people come to me for? Or what do people praise me for? And there was a phrase that I couldn't stop getting out of my head because everybody said it to me. They said, Ted, man, I don't know how you do it. I'm like, what? I don't know how you do it. You got the family, you got the workouts. I don't know how you do it, bro. And I was like, oh, light bulb. Let me show you how I do it. I show my calendar. Oh my gosh. Remember when I said these are tracks, not bars? Mm-hmm. When people see the color coordinated calendar, they automatically are like, bro, I couldn't do that. I couldn't stick to that. That seems like hell to me. I don't like being confined, yada, yada, yada. I don't like being confined either. And there's a lot of days, man, where I don't get to follow that to a T. My wife has an emergency come up. My daughter gets sick. Work needs me to work late. Things happen. Life happens, right? But when I say these are track, not bars, back to the Apollo rockets, they spend 97% of their time off course. When I need to get back on track, I got the tracks laid out. And the problem is a lot of us have never laid out tracks to our lives. So we don't know what to follow anyway. So we're lost when we're like, oh man, that was crazy. Now let me get back at it. But I don't know where to start. I get back at it in a second. I get back at it like clockwork because I've laid out my tracks ahead of me. So that's how I've been able to navigate all this. And that's when, it was maybe about 2 years ago, I identified, okay, time management, productivity, efficiency. That's my gift. That's what I'm good at. I could teach that. We're 30 minutes in and I still got more in the tank. I could talk about this all day, and that's where the other piece came, is my Tools of Time course. I had a baby on the way. I started getting some coaching clients, And the first thing I realized, I was like, man, I got 3-4 clients. And I'm like, oh, this is a lot. Working out,
Yeah.
fat, like just wife, not family, just wife and the clients. And I'm like, how can I serve these clients properly? Review the coaching forms, come prepared for their calls and everything. So I was like, oh, I can't take more than 3 clients. But then I automatically maxed out my business. So I was
Yeah.
like, all right, let me back up, curriculum this thing. And I built out a course, Tools of Time, 21-day course. This takes you through that whole North Star AAA framework, start to finish, at a $500 price point. And then boom, now not only do I have a downsell for my coaching, I have an upsell for my community, and I have something that's scalable. So I don't have to take more than 3 clients on at a time, but I can still serve as many people as possible with the course that I've already spent the time ahead of time to go through, record, edit, and then now that's what's given me my full structure for today.
I like that. And I like how you started this whole process out by, first of all, identifying the skill that you had, which was time management. And then number 2, you waited until you had some sort of demand. Because what I'll see a lot of people do is they try to force a product onto the market. They're like, I have no reason to believe that this is going to work and I have no one to serve, but I'm going to spend all this time on the logo and the LLC and all this other shit and then give it to the market and then pray. But what you did is you already had a skill, identified a target audience, and then was able to scale it. And then once you hit that ceiling, you didn't just be like, oh, I'm capped at 3 clients. You figured out other ways to monetize. I really like that. I really like that.
Yeah, man. And that was the thinking outside the box was like, I'm with you. I hear a lot of influencers who like, they'll convince you have a problem. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like you just watch their page. It's like, do you wake up in the morning and you think to yourself, I have a long day ahead of me? Well, I got the perfect package for that. I got the perfect offer. I'm like, bro, like, come on, man.
That's funny. That's funny. So as you were going through and building out your coaching program, obviously you were podcasting. How do you determine what you give away for free versus what's paid?
Man, if I'm keeping it real with you, I just gave everybody my whole framework. Take it, it's yours. Because what I found is most people talk about it, very few actually do it. And the people who pay me, like the best clients I have, bro, I send the link and they pay it within an hour, and they get like I send them the onboarding email, and they've already gotten into the resources before our first call. And like the irony is a lot of my best clients are people who would be successful regardless, but they pay and they go through this because they want the accountability and they believe in themselves. And they're like, yeah, I need somebody to rock with and guide me through this. But once they have the direction, they out. Some of my best clients, the hardest clients, if I could just be blunt and honest, some of the guys that aren't ready yet, who aren't there yet.
Ready for what?
Ready for what they say they want. Right. So there's things like, okay, it's like if I say I want X, I'm going to have to go through Y in order to do it. Right. Mm-hmm. Sometimes guys will come saying they want something, but when they realize the cost of admission, and I'm not talking about what they need to pay for my coaching. I'm not talking about what they need to pay for the course. I'm talking about what they need to do for it, what they need to give up. Right. That delete part. They're not ready to let that go to step into that next thing. For those guys, I give them all the information in the world. They're not ready. And that's okay, because there's still levels I'm trying to get to that I'm not ready for. You know what I mean? Before I got here, I had to get ready. I had to let go of some things to get to where I'm at. I think new levels, new devils. We have to adjust who we are along the way. The Ted that you see today was not the Ted 2 years ago. The Ted that I'm going to be next year is not the Ted that's talking on this podcast right now. I'm not saying that's an excuse for you to have me back on in a year, but I'm just saying you never know what's going to happen.
You never know, man.
But for the guys who aren't ready for that, they can have all the information in the world. And as a matter of fact, I'm willing to say there are hundreds, if not thousands of frameworks out there to time management already. That's free for the taking. The game is free. The work isn't. So I give I give the advice, I give the protocols, I give the framework. When it comes to my coaching, we walk through it together. I actually give the materials, right, to do it all. But a lot of what I said, I mean, you could do with a pen and paper. People could assess their own time with a pen and paper. As long as it got lines on it, you can even write the lines yourself. Put 9 a.m., go all the way down to 7 p.m., and then do it. But from my research and from what I found, from the people that are listening right now, it's only about 1% of y'all. Which, to your 1%, I see you, I respect you, I salute you, because you guys are go-getters and you're gonna go after it. But to the other 99%, you know, Myles and here are here. We're here. Myles and I are here when you're ready, right?
Absolutely.
If you're ready for that push, that accountability, that's what we're here for.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I literally just got off a call like 2-3 hours ago, right, with a creator, and this was actually a follow-up call, and I think he wanted to, like, I guess, test to see, like, no. We left off after the first call. He asked me explicitly. He said, "Tell me something that I'm already doing that I can improve on." I'm like, okay, cool. I came. I had, like, when I tell you, I had this whole deck, not with his thumbnails, titles, SEO, it was like undeniable proof of why you should do it this way. You want to know what he asked? What he told me when I was done presenting? He said he gonna say, "Well, we take pride in doing things our way. So, like, show me, like, how." Because I think it's like multiple co-hosts, and I told him that they should just rotate weeks of who's on the thumbnail, because it's when you put everybody on the thumbnail, it's all conglomerate up and you can't even really see it on the phone. That was like one of the first things I said. And he was like, "Nah, like, I want to do it our way, unconventional, and all this other stuff." And I'm like, look, like, the information's out there. It's like some people really just don't want to, like, do the implementation, or what they'll try and do is try to, like, sidestep. And like you said, some of my best clients are the ones that come to me and are like, "All right, Myles, I don't know what I'm doing. Like, just tell me what you need to do, or whatever you need. Like, you have full control. Like, I'll do what is required to make this work." And those are the best clients.
Yeah,
those are the best clients, hands down.
I'm more interested in what works than being right. And
literally,
I had to learn this the hard way, because I was the same way. It's like, well, I'm unique. I do things differently, and the best answer to that I ever heard, and I was like, oh yeah, you know, I do things my way. You know, I'm unique. I'm a little different and whatnot. So, okay, well, how's that working for you? And I'm like, here's the answer. It's not, which is why I'm on the call in the first place, which is the same thing. Like, when I'm on so I would do free calls. I would do free breakthrough calls, a 1-hour call where we map out some of your goals, your 6-month goals, your 1-year goals. And then I do a little bit of visualization, a little bit of an emotional practice for those that go there with me. And I'm like, okay, let's link the promised land of your goals to that energy, right? What does it look like if these goals are accomplished or whatnot? And then, you know what messes people up, Myles? The second half of that, towards the end of the call, is like, okay, now let's flip it. What happens if you don't hit these goals? What happens if none of this happens? What happens? Like, we go to the pain side, because your body, there's 2 drivers from our amygdala for survival. It's the pursuit of pleasure or the avoidance of pain. And the more potent driver is the avoidance of pain. Now, if I can get my client, if I can get on that breakthrough call, and we establish that perfect goal that you want in 6 months and everything that could happen, and then we talk about what it's gonna feel like if you do it. That's the pleasure part. Get your amygdala connected to that. I believe in, like, value connections to actions will lead to behaviors. Then the second half is like, hold on, but let's connect the amygdala to the pain that happens if you don't do this thing. Like we mentioned, the deferring of accounting. If you defer your accounting for X amount of years, you're going to get a big fat bill of back taxes that you owe, which is going to completely bankrupt you. Is that pain enough for you to actually look at this thing and delegate someone to do it? You're going to lose this whole thing. Let's make that a reality, right? But what's crazy is even when I connect the amygdala to that pain, I'll have clients tell me they're really good at starting. They're like, man, Ted, I'm really good at starting, and like I know what to do, and they're smart. They're smart. Like I know what to do. But it's
Yeah.
just like I just fall off after a little bit. Like sometimes it's 3 months, sometimes it's like 6 months. I'll get really good. I'll get some momentum, and I just fall off. I was like, oh, okay, well, we might be better for a monthly package. You don't need me weekly because you have the motivation to get started, but a monthly package would be a great check-in to keep you accountable. And they're like, I don't think I need accountability. I just need to stick to it. So I think I'm good. And I'm like, bro, by definition, you just told me you need accountability.
Yeah.
But again, it's if you're not ready, you're not ready. And that's why we can give the value for free. We can give the content for free. I think the power in coaching, and the value in coaching is the touch point. It's the intuitive questioning that pulls, and it's also the consistent access to someone who's going to be on your side and separated from the details of things, an objective source to check with. And that's where someone could see, it's like in all the movies you watch with like the bank heist and stuff, and they're in the getaway car, right? And you always have somebody on the microphone who's on the computer. It's like, make a left on 5th. You got cops coming down on 7th. You're going to have to make a right here. The driver is highly skilled. The crew is highly skilled. They just pulled off a heist, and they probably know those roads like the back of their hand. But you still have the person in their ear because while you're in the trees, someone needs to keep an eye on the forest. And that's what a coach does, right? And here's to debunk the thought process, right? Because I've spoken to business owners, people who make way more money than me, and they posture with it, right? Like when you're talking to a millionaire who makes, $900, $1 million a year, and you're looking to coach him, it's really quick. It's really easy for them to posture that over you, right?
Right.
But I tell them, does Bill Belichick throw a ball better than Tom Brady? No. But Bill Belichick coached Tom Brady to all them Super Bowls. Now, granted, Tom Brady went and won one on his own with Tampa Bay, but the reality is the message there is the players still need a coach. And it's not about doing what the player does better than the player. It's about the coach seeing the game well enough to help the player succeed in their ability. And that's what it's all about. I don't need to be better at content creation than you. I don't need to be better at your business than you. I just need to let you know where, and honestly, I don't need to be better at your life than you. There's none of that. I'm here to meet you where you're at with where you want to go, where you're spending your time, and to give you feedback and insights into watching film, pretty much, where you might be wasting some movements, where your form might be a little off. And then when you apply that, you get more value for the effort that you put in, and the results are your own on that part. So that's where I'm thinking, okay, just because the person doesn't outperform you in the given area doesn't mean they don't have value to give to you. It's just about them seeing the trees. It's about them seeing the forest while you're in the trees.
Yeah, because when we're in, I think you said in the forest, like you can't really see, right? You can't really like necessarily see everything or really even the impact of what you're doing. And it takes somebody from the outside looking in to fix that. I really like that. So in your coaching program, I'm sure like you've been doing this for several years. You've had some hiccups along the ways. So I want to know what mistakes that you've made when trying to scale and monetize your coaching offer, and how did you fix them?
One size fits all. I had a one size fits all type approach. One program, one offer. Like my offer is still the same, but you can't go into every surgery with the same tools because you don't know what you're going to find when you open up the body.
Yeah.
And I had a very one size fits all package, and I would white knuckle and I would force that for some clients, and it just wasn't a fit. So the first adjustment I had to make was more of a generalized, like even my coaching form, my coaching doc. It's more of a generalized overview. There's assessments within it, right? Where you start and then where we get you along the way, but there's more of a meet the client where they're at approach. I used to come in thinking it's like, okay, this is what we're gonna do, this is how we're gonna go about it, and this is what you need. And it's like, okay, Ted, you're not listening, bro. You're not listening, because we could chalk it up to, hey, you need help with time management, but the things that takes people time could be extremely different. Somebody might have a hard time with time management because they're combating vices and they don't know how to establish good habits. And that's where, okay, let's talk about the science of a habit, right? We could talk about the trigger, the routine, the reward, the 3 steps to a habit, and then we could build a notation habit or notation system where we acknowledge the trigger that has you do the bad habit in the first place. And then we could substitute the bad habit with a new routine that gives the same reward. Something like, if you notice someone who smokes cigarettes, when they quit cigarettes, they eat a lot of chips or they bite their nails or whatnot. It's oral fixation, right? So, okay, instead of, that's why, what was it? Nicotine gum was so popular, because your trigger might be stress or something that makes you want a cigarette. You get that oral fixation, the motion of smoking, which gives you a relaxation feel. So the bad habit approach, if for this specific client, I'll say, okay, well, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start paying attention to when you get stressed and you feel the urge for a cigarette. Instead of getting a cigarette, we're going to pop some nicotine gum, or we're going to pop some gum, and we're going to do breath work. And that breath work's going to slow your heart rate down, some box breathing, or we're going to do the all the way in, all the way out, then hold your breath for about 90 seconds. And then that's going to slow your heart rate down. You're going to get that relaxation feel. So the routine is different, but the reward is the same. And that's one approach for that client. This other client, like you said before, I got 5 priorities and they're all important. Okay, well, we're gonna have to clear some things out. We could look at Pareto principle. The Pareto principle is probably something you've heard a lot of in terms of the 80-20 rule. The 80-20 rule simply states that 20% of your work yields 80% of your results. So for this particular client, all right, where do most of your sales come from? Oh, well, most of my sales come from social media. Okay, what's stressing you out? Well, I got to do the social media post. I got to do this email marketing. I got to do, this outreach. I was like, all right, nix that. Get rid of the, get rid of those. Get rid of the email marketing and stuff. I'm not saying that's not valuable. But what I'm saying is, for this particular client, if 80% of their clientele comes from social media, shouldn't they just double down on social media and not stress themselves out with everything else? Now, if that well starts to dry out, if that well becomes empty, maybe you could leverage the income that you're getting from the social media leads to outsource a newsletter writer for your email marketing, delegate this stuff. So those are how I had to adjust my coaching, because the one size fits all, it just didn't work. Because then you're talking to somebody, you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, and they're not having a good experience. They want their money back, their 30-day money back guarantee or something. And then you're like, okay, do I suck as a coach? Which at the time, yes, I did.
So for people that, maybe they might aren't even aware that they suck as a coach, but they are trying to get into coaching and they're looking to get their first paying client, how should they go about that?
Well, I mean, I followed the Hermosi approach, the $100 million leads approach. My first clients that I got before I decided to switch and do the course and whatnot, my first clients were free clients. I reached out to a lot of people on my phone. I had the whole script of like, yo, bro, here's my offer. Now my offer then was like double your productivity in 6 weeks or less. And, now I'm like, okay, I could add 10 hours a week to your life, right? What would you do with an extra 10 hours a week? Chase your dreams, spend time with your kids, whatever it is. What would you do with 10 extra hours a week? But I just hit up my phone. I hit up all my followers, all my friends. I was like, yo, bro, I'm opening up my coaching. This is what I'm trying to do. I coached a few of my friends for free, and all I ask is a referral. And what's crazy is after coaching 3 of my friends, one of them was a trainer who referred me to one of his clients who signed up to be a paid client for me. And then another one of my friends, at this point, now I'm transitioning into paid clients, but I'm still doing the same approach. I hit up my buddy and I was like, hey, man, so I started my coaching program. Would you know anybody that would benefit from doubling their productivity to the yada, yada? And you know what he said to me, Myles? He goes,
What?
can I curse on this podcast?
Sure. Yeah.
He goes, shit, man, that might be me. I was like, all right, bet, let's run it. So it started like that, man. It was just like letting people know what I'm doing. Back to that, hey, man, can you come out for some drinks? It's like, no, bro, I'm working on a coaching program right now. I'm trying to get it all together. As a matter of fact, would you know anybody that could benefit from my coaching? While you're out there getting a couple of drinks, would you talk to some of your buddies and see, you know what I mean? Back to the boundaries thing. That was my focus while I was doing it. And I was really good at letting my friends know what was going on. Some of them, you know, put me on game. And then from that, I started building out my clients and slowly but surely, you know, people on social media finding me. And what's crazy is like, you know, I'll hop on a call with somebody and one of my first questions is like, yo, bro, how'd you find me? And someone's like, here's the crazy, how'd you find me? My dad was a guest on your podcast 3 years ago. What? And he's just the dude's just graduating college, right? Like, it's like, so you have no idea where your leads are coming from. Back to the podcast, right? The podcast is a lead generator. I'm talking about my passion and everything, but everything's focused towards the same demographic and the same audience. So you never know where your leads are coming from, man. And it's just having the conversations, doing those one-on-one talks, those one-on-one calls, chemistry call. Let's chat, see what's up.
I like that. It seems very organic, and you'd start off for free. And a lot of people have a gripe about doing things for free. They want to get paid right out the gate. And it's like, sometimes you have to do things for free just to get those first few testimonials, and you don't know what you're doing, and you can't necessarily guarantee a result because you've never done it before. So don't be afraid to offer something for free.
I can honestly say everything I do now, I did for free before I got paid. When I graduated college, I had a broadcast meteorology degree, but I was working at a law firm, billing clerk, just punching the keyboard all day. After work, I get a little flip phone. I track the storms in my area. I actually started becoming a weather consultant at the law firm. And then I started my own little YouTube channel, and I was doing weather forecasts for events in the area and bars in the area. And then I'd go to the bars. Me and my buddies, we all put money in for a camera. Like, this was 2011, 2011, 2012. I'm doing this, you know, like YouTube was barely a thing then.
Barely. I don't even know if they had the YouTube partner program back then.
No, right? Like if I known it was going to be what it's going to be now, I probably should have just stayed as a forecaster on YouTube. Missed that boat. Yeah. But all that to say is I was forecasting before a TV station ever gave me the shot to be a weatherman. I was podcasting before I ever had a sponsor pay to sponsor episodes. I was coaching before anybody ever ran their credit card for me to coach them on a program. And that's because, to your point, if I've never done it before, why do I expect to get paid for it? A lot of us, I mean, there's a lot of people out there, and I'm just going to call it like it is. Like they feel entitled, like, oh man, I got this offer, I could do this bet. And it's like, okay, great. If you can get those results, awesome. But let's get some data first. Let's try this out. Let's get the runway going. And I can honestly say it's worked out for me so far.
So as of right now, how are you going about getting your coaching clients? Is it still just word of mouth? Is it scaling with the podcast? Like, what is the outreach strategy looking like nowadays?
So outreach strategy is still word of mouth. The podcast is the main funnel. So the way my whole funnel has worked, and again, given free game, podcast, social media, email, newsletter, even the guests on my podcast, they're all structured towards the same audience. And those are ways for me to invite people to join my free community, the Noble Knights. The Noble Knights is free to join. And that's where my email list starts to build. If someone gets my free ebook, for example, if you come to my website, I have a 53-page ebook on mastering self-development, really everything, books, strategies, frameworks that took me from where I was to where I am now. That's free. So if anybody grabs a free ebook or they hop in my community or whatnot, I get your email. You're going to get emails from me. You're going to get my newsletter here and there. And you're also going to get an invite to chat. If you're in the community, you're definitely going to get an invite to chat. 15-minute call. And that's where I get to know where you found me. What are you looking for? What do you need? And from there, I get to qualify the buyer. And I identify, and thankfully, now that my system's done, I've hopped on a call with somebody. I'm like, all right, bro, man, it's great to meet you. I'm glad you found me. Let me know how that ebook goes, because they say, oh, I can't afford this. I can't afford that. Great. My ebook is designed to get you to a point where you can at least afford the community. The community is designed to get you to a point where you can at least afford the course. And here's the thing. If you commit to the community for 6 months, you get the course for free. And the course is designed for you to get to the point where we can coach you one-on-one. So it's all a trickle from my YouTube, my podcast, my free stuff to the paid stuff. And you're never obligated to get to the paid stuff. It's just giving the game for free. And if it gives you real world changes and helps you out, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. So how did you go about like everything that you said, like upsell this, downsell that? Like, where did you learn that business knowledge to do those things? Because obviously you didn't start with that. You just started with your free coaching clients. So where did you learn how to do the upsells and downsells and stuff?
Books, online courses, mentors, coaches. I've paid for coaching. I've had coaches teach me how to build out my coaching framework. I have a mentor I've sat with consistently for a very long time, who's in a very similar realm in terms of where I am, where he specifically, this mentor I've sat with for, gosh, Myles, I want to say it's been like 3 years on like a bi-weekly basis consistently. He worked in media and journalism, and he went on to build the largest free men's workout community in the world, F3. And he's now a business advisor. He's done what I'm trying to do. So that's somebody who has the script, knows how to do what I'm trying to do. So I sit with him constantly, breaking down my approach to business, what I'm working on, the tests that I'm running, the leads that I'm running. Another way that I get leads is I have a free course, I have a free quiz called "Where Did My Time Go?" quiz. I was running ads to that. Then it's just simple. I make the video, run the ads. You're strolling on Instagram. You're like, all right, yeah, I'll take a 90-second course to find out how good or bad I am with time. And then right off the bat, boom, I can put you in one of 4 time archetypes, which helps me qualify you as a buyer right there. But what I also get is your email. So you're going to get some emails from me. I'll be emailing you about 12, 13 times after you take that course. And I'm going to give you more value based on your archetype. I'm going to give you value on what you can do and how you can leverage stuff. And then I'm going to invite you to a call. I'm going to invite you to listen to the podcast. So those are all ways of leading with value, right? Because the main thing I believe in is reciprocity. If somebody's listening to this podcast and they're like, oh, bro, he says something that hit me a certain way, and I'm going to change my course of action because of it, bet. That's it. The only thing I ask for in return is, give your buddy a follow, give your buddy a like, or rate. First of all, rate this podcast. Rate Beyond Ordinary. Myles is giving me the opportunity to talk to y'all. Make sure you leave that. And then if you call me and you say, "Oh, I saw you on the Beyond Ordinary podcast," I'm like, "Did you rate it? If not, I'm hanging up." Just plain and simple.
I appreciate it. That's all we ask for, man. It's free. It's free to support. It's free to support. Man, I actually just started running mid-roll ads to ask people to rate the podcast if they got any value. This is literally all I ask for. I'm not even asking for $1 or anything. Just a rate.
That's it.
That's it. So in terms of I know you said you maxed out at 3, I guess, one-on-one clients. Did you ever think about doing group coaching?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much that's in essence what the Noble Nights is. So the Noble Nights is a weekly call every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Eastern. The guys jump on there. I have 4 pillars. The first Wednesday of every month is time mastery and productivity, my expertise. Second Wednesday of every month is health and fitness. One of our longstanding Noble Knights, he's a 20-year martial art veteran, former professional bodybuilder. Dude knows some stuff. So I've employed him as an expert in that space. So he'll do talks here and there. We also pull in experts for these different topics. The third Wednesday is relationships and leadership. And the fourth Wednesday is business and financial growth. So the Noble Nights in itself is a group call. It's a group call, but it's also a group coaching session each week where each member has the ability to ask questions, to share feedback, or even share insights on what they're working on and what they bring to the table. Because like I said, I have franchise owners, I have professional bodybuilders, cybersecurity professionals in there. So they know things that are beneficial to the group. And I believe in osmosis, and the mastermind concept made famous by Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich is when you get a bunch of high performers in a room and you put a problem in front of them, you maximize the chance of solving that problem. So the group coaching is in the form of the Noble Knights. And what we also do is when I get some big experts, I get some big names on the podcast, I re-up with them. I'm like, hey, bro, this has been great on the podcast. Would you do a call within the community? And these are business advisors. These are entrepreneurs. These are folks who've really made it in life who now hop on the call, giving an hour of their time to actual Q&A. I've had acquisition lawyers. I've had testosterone professionals. All of these folks who you'd have to pay hundreds or thousands of dollars for an hour of their time, but they're coming in and they're sharing with the community. So that's the group coaching aspect. That's the other scalable approach to what I'm doing, which is why the one-on-one coaching it's a premium package. It's the one thing that I do that's like, okay, you're actually going to get TED time. But because time is my most valuable asset, I limit the coaching for now.
Phenomenal. Like, I'm gonna have to sign up. Just throw me in there.
Come through, bro. We'd love to have you.
Do it. So how did you go about scaling your team, from the podcast team down to some of the experts that you bring on to speak to the guys?
Relationships and resources, man. I still have a very small team, a very lean team. They're in the Philippines, South Africa, which is good for when I wake up at 2:30 in the morning. It's 2:00 in the afternoon for one of my editors. So that's good. But also the podcast has really been a game changer in terms of the relationships that you have. Right. And like through the podcast, I've met people who I've hosted retreats with. And the only way I've been able to host that retreat is because the guest on my podcast put me in touch with another facilitator who ironically has also been coaching me in Muay Thai for the last year. Right. Mm-hmm. So when you meet these people and you hear it all the time, it's like, how can I help you? How can I help you? And most of the time people they're being facetious. They're just trying to be nice. How can I help you? But 33% of the time they're genuine. They're genuine in how they can help you. And then when I say connecting men in pursuit of their potential, my skill set is limited to my time management and productivity and mastery. But when an editor, obviously I employ my editor, I hire my editors, but when a friend of mine who's an entrepreneur, who's been on the podcast, has his business lawyer at one of his events, and he's like, yo, bro, you should talk to so-and-so and have him come to the Noble Nights. I'm like, oh, that's a good idea. Yo, would you be down? Yeah, no problem. I have good faith in the podcast when I have a guest on and they have a good experience as a guest. And I'm like, hey man, I have a community. I would love for you to talk to them. They're like, man, you're really cool. I'd love to give another hour of my time to that. And the reciprocity there is, $147 a month is not a lot of money. But if you're there and you meet another expert and that expert has the exact thing you need, you can pay for their coaching, right? And now you have the solution to your problem that's come to you, and you're not dying out of pocket because now you have the person that you need. And the $147 a month, it pays for the community, it pays for the camaraderie, and you never know who else is going to come into those calls, and also the connection that's made within the community itself. So that's how it's all come together. And my team continues to grow based off of the skill sets and the people that connect with me.
Wow. I like that. It seems pretty organic, and those are pretty much the best connections, things that aren't necessarily just transactional, just reciprocity. Mm-hmm. That's how we got connected. I think we got connected because Jamal, and it's so crazy because I actually just called him earlier today for a part 2 of the podcast. and he put us in contact, and I hopped on your podcast, and then a year later I was like, okay, can you come on mine now? Just everything just organic, and it just works out that way.
That's why the internet's such a powerful place, man. And some people aren't using it right. But like, man, one of my best friends, dude was standing next to me on my wedding day, bro. I met him because he sent a DM to another friend of mine. Like, he sent an Instagram DM to a buddy of mine for mentorship. And my buddy told him, I will mentor you if you help my boy with his podcast. That's how I met this dude. And a year and a half later, he's standing next to me while I'm getting married. That's the internet, man. The people, I feel like we're coming to a close, so I'll put this towards the end, man. For all the creators out there, understand that you attract what you put out. And this world has 8 billion people in it. So it doesn't matter if 99% of the people don't like you. It's not about worrying what other people think. It's about being authentically you, because you are living in a time where you could attract your people, and they will find you, and they will rock with you, and they will multiply whatever things you're doing beyond what you ever thought it was possible.
Absolutely. I got just 2 more questions for you, Ted, before we close out. I just want to ask you, if now that you started your program a while ago, and as well as your content journey a while ago, but if you were to start over from zero, you still have, everything going on, meteorology, kids, wife, all that good stuff. How would you go about scaling your coaching program?
Honestly, I would start with the avatar in mind. I would start with the audience. I'd start sharpening my axe. And what I mean by that is I would save up more capital. A lot of the stuff I did, I built over time. And that slows down the growth. So my reapproach to things would be more of the planning process of who am I talking to? Because like I said, I started off podcasting and then I had to monetize it. I would reverse it, and I would start off with who I'm talking to, what I want to say to them, and then I would save up capital, and I would coordinate the investment to come out the gate, coordinated to then talk to the audience. And then I wouldn't make my offer, I wouldn't make my package until I've spoken to enough of them and understood what they needed. Like you said before, I'm not just going to force hey, you woke up this morning, you're going to bed tonight, I got something for you. No. I would find my target audience. I would start speaking to them with what I believe they enjoy and what they like and what gives them value, offer the lines of communication, open them up, speak to enough of them, find out what their main pain point is. And then I would craft a product around that, or I would curate the solution to that, whether it's finding other people and using my Rolodex and my connections, my resourcefulness to bring them the solution. And then I would monetize that somehow. And I would monetize it probably the same way with the community.
Wow. Amen, man. I'll take the same way. And honestly, recently I started trying to talk to more of creators and rebrand the podcast. And it started, and I paid a coach, surprise, surprise, that's a common theme. Like, I paid a coach who told me, and that was the very first thing we did. Start off with the avatar in mind and then going for there. But Ted, this has been phenomenal episode. Learned a lot from you. Definitely, I hope the audience learned enough. I don't even have the words. But I always like to give my guests the final say. So is there anything you want to leave the audience with today?
Just know where you're going, man. I'll leave it with that. We're all in this world, and a lot of people wake up day in and day out, whether it's a 9 to 5, whether you're up to your neck, you're in the grind of your business, you're doing the same thing day in and day out. Time is going to go so much faster than you think. Before you know it, months, days, weeks, years go by, and you're going to look around and be like, what the hell happened? Don't let that be you. Stop, look around, assess, adjust, apply, find out where you want to go, and take control of your life. Like I said at the beginning, like I said in the middle, and I'm going to say again, time is the only currency you spend without knowing your remaining balance. What if you found out you only had $10 left? You'll be very discerning with the time that you spend. So I hope that you are rich with time, but I hope that you are discerning with your time as if you only had $10 left. And I appreciate that you spent at least the last $60, if you're talking time in minutes, with me. And I hope I didn't waste it, bro.
Absolutely. That's a word. I appreciate that, Ted. Where can the people find you at?
TheModernManPodcast.com. That's got everything you need. On Instagram at The Modern Man Podcast. Holler at me. LinkedIn, Ted Phaeton. That's the best resources. TheModernManPodcast.com's got you with everything.
For sure. I'm going to leave all that in the show notes. Hope you guys learned a lot about time management and how to scale that coaching business. Until next time, peace. If you got just one good idea from this episode, please consider subscribing so you don't miss the next one. And if you liked all the insights from this episode and looking for more, click on the video on your screen right now.